So good evening to everybody, and thanks to be here for being here, even if Amalfi is very close and we are all, bombarding from multiple signals. So today I'm speaking about a different signal from the one that other people presented to you, which is a deep signal recorded from the human stomach. I work in Rome at the Department of Psychology within the Social and Cognitive Neuroscience Laboratory. So we are now convinced, and there are many people that are basically the protagonists of this story, that visceral signals, so the signals that are coming from our internal organs, not only contribute to the maintaining of the homeostasis, thus to our survival, but actually they influence brain dynamic because, of course, the body is a special organ, and the brain has to deal with the signals that are coming, as many people said, from within the body, but also from a tremendous amount of signals that instead of has to select from outside the body. And the brain oscillation are now, and well described, modulated by the viscera, even if they play at different, let's say, frequency. And these visceral signals, even if they are low in frequency, they are able to influence higher order cognitive and emotional processes. And now we have evidence that even if at the correlational level, they may play even a role in the mental health. So which is our basic experimental question? Are basic emotion associated with specific deep gastric correlates? And if yes, how do we deal with this deep side of the stomach? We need to use a system that goes inside to the stomach, and therefore we take the advantage of the instruments that people use in the gastroenterology. So basically, we used an ingestible device that is able to record 3 types of signals, so the pH, the temperature, and the pressure within the entire gastrointestinal system, which is the theoretical rationale that was behind our story. We have thousands of literature that speak about emotion. I selected just 2 opposite, in a sense, pillar of the theory that speak about the importance of visceral signal when we are speaking about emotion. And there is, of course, the seminal work done by William James and then reproposed by Damasio and many others that give a crucial role to the visceral signal in shape distinct categorization of emotion. And then there are the more recent constructive approach that put a lot on the prediction role of the brain, which actually give not less power to the visceral signals because they interpret this signal as a predominant data that the brain has to deal with when it has to categorize some affective state in emotion. So already introduced it before, if we try to see what the literature tells us about the gastric signal, we may have anecdotal experience, I bet, in every languages that to describe actually emotion, we actually do use gastrointestinal system. We may say we have got butterfly in the stomach, or on the negative side, knot in the pit of the stomach. And this we have in Italian, in English, and I bet in many other languages. So we have somehow some linguistic bodily maps of emotion. And if we go back and see what actually have in the literature, we may find self-reports, yes. We may find objective measure, yes. The externally recorded through electrogastrography, but even there, the literature is very confused, and the method not well, tracked. Or we have this bodily silhouette. We can discuss about if this is an emotion, this is a report of an emotion, but there is no time to go into the deep of this literature. But if we ask participants to make colors on the body parts which are activated or deactivated during basic emotion, but this has been replicated even asking about more complex emotion, more foundation pillars also, we might find that the gastrointestinal system is actually play a role. People do feel emotion coming from here, not in all emotional state, but in someone, yes. And also have been developed in Lucca from the Giada Lettieri and Luca Cecchetti groups, a very nice new version of this bodily silhouette, which are haptic. So these, of course, are able to, could be used in people with sensory deprivation, so people with blind congenitally or acquired blind sight. And if you analyze the report that they actually touch on the body of this 3D silhouette, you can find that the differences that people find from the congenitally or the, let's say, acquired blind side with the normal side participants regards regions, sensation coming from the gut. So how, our question is, okay, it seems to be there, the gut, but how do we study it? So we have multiple ways to study it. We saw that we can we can quantify the amount of synchronization between the heart, the gut, sorry, and the brain, as Ignacio and the group of Mike Allen, I'm sorry, I don't know the pronunciation of the name, show in a brilliant way. And we can use also vibrating capsule, which is a technology that is used to increase the motility of the patient that have constipation and try to see after the vibration of the capsule where if there is an activity that is locked to the vibration of the capsule and if this activity could go together with the perception of the participants. Or we can use what we used, so the smart pills technology. We have the pH, the temperature, and the pressure that are located within sensor contained in this pill. And basically, And basically, this is the general procedure. So basically, participants come fasted. They are provided with a standardized meal. We excluded many exclusion criteria that, of course, might cause us with many problems. This is the typical ingestion, which goes with water. We recorded also one-channel EGG, and we expose participants to an emotional induction procedure while they have the pill within the gut and the intestine. All our participants are alive, so don't worry. We are always a bit anxious about the real end of the experiment, but everything went well. So we expose participants to different type of emotion, basic emotion, happy, fear, disgust, sad, and we ask to report their emotional experience, their visceral sensation, and the general arousal. These are the type of video clip that we show to the participants. Sorry, but they should be, powerful in a sense. These are the typical signals that the pill record over the gastrointestinal system. And what about the results? Of course, we checked that our manipulation, the type of video clip we used were good in providing different state of emotion. And we want to know if the participants have a aware representation of their gastric sensation. We were mostly interested in this type of sensation. And we see that when they were exposed to disgust and fearful video clip, they reported higher amount of gastric sensation. The cardiac sensation, the arousal sensation were present in all the emotion. And now the main results. What happened when we try to associate the gastric physiology with the emotional ratings? We found an association. The more people were disgusted at the conscious level and fearful, the more acidic was the pH. The opposite was true for the happiness. We also replicate these results only analyzing the physiology independently from the awareness. So we now know that gastric sensation might play a role in the emotional experience, that there are specific markers, and especially the pH recorded in the stomach, that could play a role when people are happy, disgust, or they have fear. So visceral signal goes beyond pure homeostatic function, influence high-order cognitive and emotional process, and may directly or not play a crucial role in also mental health. So it would be nice to test clinical population, discover then the causal role of these signals, complementing this signal with neural recording. And most important, this work would haven't be done with the collaboration of many people that are the protagonists of the old group, of the new group, and the aspiring group that is in Rome. And I want to thank Antonio for inviting me, our brave participants, and you for the attention.
By the way, the video game you show is very good. Inside. Questions for Giuseppina?
Yeah, thank you. So you said disgust was one of those emotions which was associated, right, with the gastric. So, but the images, the videos which you showed, they are somehow relating to gastric behavior, right? So people vomiting and so on. So to what extent this result represent material which relates to embodiment? Whether you had disgust which had nothing to do with gastrointestinal system as such. Yeah.
This is a good point. I mean, disgust is evoked in many different ways. You know, as you said, we can induce disgust by let people see a vomiting scene, by watching at blood or violation of the body, and these were partially the video clips that were validated that we used. Actually, the reports of the disgust, of course, were quite clean. I mean, they were useful in inducing disgust. Of course, there is an overlap with fear, and the other way around is also true. We are working on this aspect. We are trying to deal with the embodiment of disgust without using the body. It's very difficult, believe me. The other thing I can say to try to defend this data is that body was everywhere in all the other emotion, of course attributing different type of valence to the video clip, but we are trying to avoid the body for different manipulation we are working with, and it's not that easy.
Any other questions for Giuseppina?
Thank you for your talk. And so I'm wondering, what do you think about the pathway between brain and stomach? So, for example, it's autonomic nervous system or like humoral way?
So thanks for this question. We are dealing with the mechanism, and I don't know why it doesn't go. So I have extra slides somewhere. So this is just an evidence. Of course, dealing with are you exposing your subjects, in the case of disgust, to a sympathetic or parasympathetic? There are tons of literature which makes this mechanism a bit confused. If you are dealing with moral disgust, you may find some evidence or differently others. We do replicate findings that suggest that the parasympathetic control is involved during the modulation, the induction of disgust, since we have reduction in heart rate and increase in heart rate variability, and these were correlated with our report of disgust. So a possible control of the parasympathetic system is at play for sure. We have other data, because we are using quite more often this pill to other different, let's say, objective. we have evidence that the acidity of the stomach is reduced when we actually ask participants to be in a stressful condition, which goes very well with the literature suggesting that when you are in a stressful situation, you can actually, it's not useful for you to make more activity inside to the gut because you need other organs to function better. But we also are collecting neural data because we want to actually try to apply this phase locking value, formula by trying to quantify the amount of coupling between the stomach and the brain and maybe localize it. We also have an fMRI experiment in which we are trying to deal with the TMS simulation, hopefully with profound region like the insula. Try to deal with the top-down, bottom-up direction, but we still are in the process of adding the mechanism, but this is what we need.
Thank you very much.